Shalom, everyone, and we're celebrating the new month of Adar I. And Adar I means there's also Adar II. So the 2 months of Adar, this year, 5782. And why? Because this is what is called a leap year, or in Hebrew, it says Shana Meuberet, a pregnant year. Okay? So what does it mean pregnant? In Hebrew, Meuberet means not pregnant, but in Hebrew, Meuberet means with an additional power. So it has, first of all, a leap year in a Hebrew year of 13 months, 13 lunar months, happens to be every 2 or 3 years. Now, why do we need Shana Meuberet? Why do we need to add an extra month of Adar, an extra month of Pisces? So we have one of the most powerful concepts in the wisdom of Kabbalah is about the union, the combination of the male and female forces in the universe as a unity. And I'll explain. Okay? So there are polarities in this universe, male and female, giving and taking, a creator and creation, and they're being symbolized also by the moon and the sun. And therefore, the moon has its own cycle, and the moon represents the female aspect in the universe, and the sun represents the male aspect in the universe. The male aspect, we know that the male, which is the creator, his sharing, his giving is endless, never stops, and is never discriminating. The same thing, we know the sun shines always, even when we think it's night, the sun is still shining. The fact that the earth changed and we're now with our back to the sun, so it's night, the sun is still shining. The sun is shining even if we don't see it. Also, and the sun is shining at everybody, on everybody the same way, righteous and wicked, fools and wise people, the sun is sharing with everyone. That's like the creator. The moon is the female, and therefore the moon does not have any light of its own, as the Zohar says, the same way that the female, we, the souls, us, humanity, we are the female aspect of the creation, therefore we have no light of our own. Like the moon, we have only the light that we reflect, which means the light that we receive from the male, from the creator, and that we do not just hold on to it, but share it back and reflect it to others. Because let's say, whatever we give to others, if it's a good advice or a smile or money, whatever, neither of these gifts are ours. It's all stuff that we have from the creator. And the only way, by the way, when we learn Kabbalah, the only way to keep something is when you share it. When you just hold on for yourself, you become a finite being and it doesn't exist anymore. And therefore, if you look at the night, and at night, is there sunlight in the night sky? Of course there is. How do you know? When you see the moon. If the moon was 10 times bigger, we'll have 10 times the amount of light. If there were 10 moons, we'll have 10 lights, which means there is light, sunlight in the dark night sky. However, if there's nothing to reflect that light, we cannot see that. Same thing every day, every hour in our lives. How much light the creator is shining at us endlessly. How much can we see? Only what we reflect. And therefore that union between the moon and the sun is the union between the creator and the creation, the heaven and the earth. But it's here, there's a symbol, because that these forces, the sun and the moon, they have cycles. Okay? Now, one of the major symbol for this connection between male and female forces is the symbol in a Kabbalistic meditation of the union between the name of God that represents the heavens, which is Youdkevitch, the tetragrammaton, okay? And there is also the name of God that represents the creation, which means the earth. And that's the name Aleph Dalet Nun Yud. So when we read the Torah, or we read in the prayer book, and we reach a place where the tetragrammaton is written, we never pronounce it. We pronounce the other name, because that name belongs to manifestation to the physical world. However, the Kabbalists teach us we need to meditate on the tetragrammaton, which is the light, and we pronounce the name of Aleph Dalet Nun Yud, which is the physical manifestation. And when we do that, we have to think about uniting both names together, because by doing that, we're uniting the heaven and the earth, the metaphysical with the physical, the bliss of the creator with the vessel of the creation, and that what creates harmony. Now, if we take the two names I just mentioned, the name of that represents the male aspect of the creation, the giving aspect of the creation, the tetragrammaton, the numerical value is, and you know, in Hebrew, every letter is also a number, okay? And that is very common use, okay? Many numbers in even modern Hebrew, you don't, let's say the year. This year is 5782. If you hear a person who's saying 5782 in Hebrew, 5782, nobody will understand what he's talking about. Why? Because an Israeli says that number in letters, Tafshin Pei Bet. That's it. So if you say it in numbers, not in letters, nobody will understand what you're saying. Oh, you mean Tafshin Pei Bet. It will take us a while to understand it. So there are many numbers that we use letters for the numbers. Many times, when you're bored as a kid, you start to do the numerical value of your name, the girl that you like, and the boy that you don't like, and so on and so forth. And you're starting to make a whole thing. But that's the way you think. Now, so if we take the tetragrammaton, the Youdkevitch, this is the number 26. You take the other name, Aleph Dalet Nun Yud, this is the name which is the number 65. When you combine and unite them together, you get the number 91. 91, therefore, is one of the greatest symbols of unification of the opposites of this universe. Soul and body, heaven and earth, and especially the creator and the creation. One of the most special, powerful, famous meditations in Kabbalistic teachings is that union of these two names with the number 91. Okay, so let's see what do we have over here. So if we look at the two calendars, we have a lunar calendar and a solar calendar. The lunar calendar, it's known that the Muslims are using a lunar calendar, which means it has 12, every year has exactly 12 moons, okay? And therefore, if you compare it to the solar calendar, which is 365 days, every 4 years, you add one more day. Every century, you add one more day. So you get, that's basically the solar calendar, and the solar calendar is the Western calendar, the Christian calendar. Okay, so now what is the Hebrew calendar? The Hebrew calendar is combining between the two, because the Hebrew month, they start always on the new moon. However, if you look at the Muslim calendar, you see that the holidays over there, let's say the Ramadan, it's sometimes in the summer, then it wanders in backwards, and always backwards. It wanders into the spring, and then into the winter, and back into the fall, and back into the summer. How does that happen? Because the 12 moons are 355 days, which means it's about a little bit more than 10 days missing between a lunar 12 moons year and a solar 365 days year. So what happens is that in the Muslim calendar, you see that the holidays are moving always, 10 and something days backwards every year. So let's say every 36 years, that will make a complete circle. Okay, now, the Hebrew calendar, as we know from the Torah, we see that in Parashat Bo, in the book of Exodus, it's Exodus chapter 12, verse 1, and it says that over there, the rules of the Hebrew calendar are being given to Moses and Aaron, so they teach the rest of the nation of Israel before the Exodus. Okay, why is it important? So we learned that if you want to win the war against the evil forces around you, you need to control the zodiac signs, and you need to control the months, and so on and so forth. We have to be above them. And so we have to know how to be above them. One of them is a celebration of the new moon with the meditation we're going to study today. Now, so the point is like this. In the same chapter in Exodus, it is said that, that the month of Nisan is the first month of the year, but it's also the month of spring. Now, the point is like this. If we do not change anything, so if the month of, let's say, of Nisan, the new moon of Nisan, falls in the spring, but within not so many years, it will be already in the winter. So the Hebrew calendar is based on the axis of what is every year is known that the year has, the solar year has an axis of 4 points. The equinox, which is March 21st and September 21st. The longest day, which is in June 21st, and the shortest day in the northern hemisphere, okay, which the shortest day is in December 21st. Okay, so this is the axis, and also this is the axis. These are 4 axes of the Hebrew year calendar. And that means that the month of the spring, which is the month of Nisan, cannot start, cannot be, it cannot, or the holiday of the spring, Passover, can never be before March 21st. Why? Because before March 21st, it's still winter. So in order to balance the pace between the moons and the suns, okay? So what's the only way we can do it? We need to add, and the number is like this. We need to add 7 extra moons every cycle of 19 years. And therefore, the Hebrew calendar is based on a rhythm of cycles of 19 years. And in every cycle of 19 years, you have 7 years that have 13 months in each. Okay, that will be in every cycle. It will be the third in every cycle, the third, the sixth, the 8th, the 11th, the 14th, the 17th, and the 19th, which means this is it. If you want to know if this is a leap year, you take the year, you divide by 19, and if you have, and the extra that is being left is either 3, 6, 8, 11, 14, 17, or 19, then it is a leap year. So in order to balance the cycle of the moon with the cycle of the sun, you need 13 months, 7 years with 13 months every cycle of 19 years. 7 times 13 is 91. We said 91. This is the magical number that is the connection between the heaven and the earth, the light and the vessel, God and his creation, that this is the number 91, the great union of male and female. So every cycle of 19 years is teaching us, is giving us that story. By the way, more than that, if you look at the year itself, the solar year, as we said, we have those 4 major axes in the solar year. How many days between one axis to another? How many days between March 21st and June 21st? If you count, you'll find that the number of days is again 91. Again 91. And that's why also, how do you call a season in Hebrew? Ona. Ona means in Hebrew also mating between a husband and wife, which means every quarter of the year, which is every quarter is another force being revealed in this, our physical dimension of time, again, has the number 91. Again, as we said, 91 is the union between heaven and earth, God and his creation. Now, by the way, when I spoke about the 2 calendars, the lunar calendar and the solar calendar, and it looks like they are the ruling calendars in the world, but if you go to the Far East and you look at the calendars of the Far East, they're more like the Jewish calendar than the others, which means if you go to China or Japan or Thailand, Southeast Asia, and all of these cultures are using a luni-solar calendar. And if you check their calendars, you see that they also have cycles of 19 years with 7 leap years in every cycle, because that's the only math that is going to put it together. I tried once to ask a Hindu sage, what's the mathematical background of your calendar? And he said, nobody learns about it. I don't know. This is something automatic that the government is doing since India became a state. Okay, so people don't understand that. But that's, when you study the Talmud, when you study Judaism, that's one of the things that you study, that basically we have a special cycle. And that cycle is to connect the rhythm of the heaven and the earth. And that's how time becomes also a dance of light and vessel. Now, when we speak about the months, we know that one of the basic secrets of astrological information we can find in the story of the 12 sons of Jacob. So Each one of them is basically a symbol of one of the 12 signs of the zodiac. So the story of their birth, growth, actions, and what they are good at and what they are not, and so on and so forth, each one of them contains a lot of secrets about the zodiac sign that each one of them represents. When we come into the blessings that Jacob is giving to his sons, also, each blessing represents another zodiac sign. Now, but if we look at the story of the 12 tribes later on, we realize that something is changing. Why? Because when they camp in the desert, in the book of Numbers, over there you can see, especially in the Zohar, it says they camp according to their signs. Exactly the same word, signs, otot, as it's being used for zodiac signs in the book of Genesis, chapter 1, when it speaks about the creation of the moon and the sun and the zodiac and the stars and the zodiac signs. Okay, why is it the same? If you look at the way the Israelites were camping in the desert, in every camp there were 3 to the north, 3 to the south, 3 to the west, through the east. We have again the same setup as the zodiac signs. Again, the axis about 4 seasons, 3 signs in each season. However, here it's different. Here we have, instead of Joseph as a tribe and a sign, you have 2. Menashe and Ephraim, his 2 sons. So we have 13 tribes. Yes, in the desert, we have 13 tribes. However, the tribe of Levi has been upgraded to the tribe of the tabernacle, the Mishkan. He is camping in the middle of the circle. He is not part of the 12. Okay, so then we have two tribes, Menashe and Ephraim, instead of Joseph. Okay, why is that connected? Because when we're talking about the 12 sons of Jacob and which tribe each of one of them is symbolizing, the one that symbolizes is a symbol for the month of Adar, Pisces, is Joseph. Okay, now Joseph is, with his stories, has a lot of symbolism that connects to Pisces. First of all, the first thing we hear about Joseph, his dreams. He is very much in the dream world. Pisces are very dreamy people. They have a very, very strong connection with their dreams. I'm not saying every one of them, okay, but a lot of them. Remember, there's not one person that is only at the epitome of one sign only. We are a combination of all 12 signs in different powers and forces to each, and that's what makes every human being so unique. There's no one else like him, and there will never be. Okay, so, but there's a tendency of dreaming. Also, we know about Joseph, about when we look at him as a righteous, Joseph the righteous. The righteous, this is Sfirat Yesod. Tzaddik, righteous, Yesod Olam. The month of Adar is, if we look at the year, we have in the year a division of 6 and 6. 6 female, 6 male months. Okay, so when we are talking about the 6 months between Rosh Hashanah, after Rosh Hashanah, from Tishrei, so the Pisces, Adar, is the 6th month, which is Sfirat Yesod. The first 3, this is Chesed Gvura Tiferet. Okay, right, left, and column of the upper triangle of the Star of David. In the winter, like the Hebrew calendar is divided to winter and summer. Of course, you have spring and fall, but that's an inner division. So the months of Libra, Scorpio, and Sagittarius, this is Chesed Gvura Tiferet, upper triangle. The lower triangle is Netzach Hod Yesod, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. So Pisces is Yesod. Now we know that Yosef means to accumulate, le'esof, me'asef. Me'asef is the one that comes at last, but me'asef means also to accumulate, and Joseph was accumulating all the bliss of the 7 years of plenty, so he can feed the world during the years of famine. Okay, now the Hebrew name for Adar, okay, for the month of Pisces, Adar, Adar means in the Hebrew Aramaic 2 things. One meaning is, whoever heard about the most important part of the Zohar, that is the part that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai is dictating to his students on the last day of his life. It's called the Idra Zuta. Idra means assembly, to assemble, which means Adar means to assemble. Okay? That's Yosef. Me'asef. Asefa is assembly. Another place you use the word Adar in Hebrew, Idra, is the skeleton of a fish, Pisces. Okay? When we speak about Joseph, we speak about the protection from evil eye. The symbolism of fish and Joseph is very, very connected. And what is the blessing that Jacob is giving to his 2 sons and to the sons of Joseph? He gives them the blessing. They will be my sons. They will be like Reuben and Shimon. There will be 2 tribes. And they will multiply like fish within the earth. So the 2 fish of the sign of Pisces, the 2 fish, right? That's Menashe and Ephraim. Menashe and Ephraim, the 2 sons of Joseph, they are the 2 months of Adar 1 and Adar 2. That's how it's connected. Now, what is the major powers of this month, and especially when it is a leap year, which means, as we said, when it is a leap year, it means we have extra power, extra force. So I saw it just today. When it is a leap year, we have 60 days of Adar, because Adar 1 is 30 days, Adar 2 is 30 days, together 60 days. 60 days, and when it says when we start the month of Adar, what is the Mishnah saying? Mishanichnas Adar marbim b'simcha. When Adar comes in, this is the time to rejoice and to bring more and more celebration and happiness. Now, the number 60 is very important in Jewish law, which means, let's say you have a pot full of meat and it's being cooked. Somebody by mistake passed by, let's say I eating ice cream, and a bit from the ice cream dropped into the meaty pot. Now, according to the Torah, you cannot eat meat and milk together. However, if the amount of milk that fell into the pot is less than 1 part of 60, then it is batel b'shishim. It is diminished because the amount is so little relatively to the amount of meat in the pot, so it doesn't consider to be a mixture of milk and meat. So the pot is still, the dish is still kosher. But if the amount of milk that fell into the meat dish is bigger than 1 part of 60, then you cannot eat it, it's not kosher. Now, so the Lubavitcher Rabbi said that because we have 60 days of Adar, 60 days of Simcha, all the sorrow, all the pain that we carry with us the whole year long, because Adar is the last month of the astrological year. This is the time that it will be batel b'shishim. It can be eliminated as in the 60 days of Adar I and Adar II. So the 2 months of Adar, if somebody had a question, when we say that the happiness, the celebration of Adar is great and it's a month with full of happiness, okay, maybe it means only for Adar II. No, it is for both Adars, and that's why there are talks about it and discussions about it in many places in ancient Jewish sources, that all 60 days are very special days of happiness. So what does mean special days of happiness? That with the happiness, we can cleanse ourselves, elevate ourselves, whatever we didn't do in the past 2 months under the influence of Saturn, because Saturn, Kochav Shabtai, he teaches you by beating you up, by taking away the illusions that you thought that they are going to support you. And he takes away, said, oh, you see, you don't need it. Why? You need it so much, I can't without it. You'll see you can without it. Yeah, but I'm so miserable because I don't have it anymore. You have to let go. That's Saturn. The method of the teacher, the other teacher, which is Jupiter, which is the planet, the ruling planet of Pisces, is different, with happiness. You grow spiritually with happiness. So now, after 2 months of seriousness and wisdom and very strong, hard work of under the Capricorn and Aquarius, now we have 2 months this year of happiness and growth, spiritual growth through happiness, and much lighter a way of growth, which is through more than the harshness of the laws, but the beauty of the laws. So let's see how it works. So first of all, generally about the month of Pisces, Adar. If we look at the way we do it with every zodiac sign, we have 4 seasons of the year, 4 corresponding to the 4 letters of the Tetragrammaton. Yud is the spring, Hey, as you see, is the summer, Vav is corresponding to the fall, and Hey, the last Hey, to the winter. Now, the winter, as we learned, is the last Hey, Sfirat Malchut, the vessel, which is the desire to receive. The element is earth. This is the vessel because the earth receives fire, heat, air, and water, and then it can grow. So those 3 months, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces, all of them in the core, according to these Kabbalistic teachings from the Book of Formation, Sefer Yetzirah, in the core, all of them are earth. That's why you see such an intensity, earth-like intensity. Whoever knows astrology, what the earth element means, it's intensity of desire. So if we see by the Capricorn, the intensity is for safety, for stability, for control, and so on, that's Capricorn. Aquarius, there is an intensity of desire for knowledge, for connection, for whatever, that's Aquarius. Pisces, there's a different kind of intensity, but it's a very strong intensity. It's like the ability of Pisces to draw in, to retain knowledge, information, wisdom, feelings, emotions, whatever, it's endless, very, very intense when it comes to receive, to draw, and to suck in. Okay? Now, it means that all 3 signs, as we said, if they are earth, they have this aspect of very deep selfishness. Okay? Now, they're divided into three, like every season: right, left, and center. Right is the water of the three, left is the fire of the three, and center is the air of the three. So Pisces, in the core, it is earth, but is the air of the earth, which means thinking. They have this deep wisdom, we'll come to it, that is unusual kind of wisdom. Okay, that's one aspect. Balance. Air also means very, very sensitive to balance, trying to balance. It's like you see all the center ones: Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. All of them are very, very sensitive for injustice. They will try to balance, they try to mediate. Very good in mediation, like becoming this kind of a looking, each one of them takes it differently. But the whole sensitivity into justice is very strong with all four, especially Pisces. Okay, and Pisces, like everybody knows from whoever studied a little bit of regular, like not Jewish astrology, it's a water sign, which means sensitivity. Sensitivity, emotionality, sharing, so Pisces have this amazing ability to empathize, to share, to care for others, to be there for the others, and especially very, very, very intense sensitivity for what other people go through and also what they go through. So as we said about all water signs, if they're busy, how much sensitive they are, it's a curse, like all water signs. If you're always thinking about what do you feel, what do you feel, what do you feel, what do you feel, are you stuck so deep into yourself? And it's the darkest place in the universe. You know, being stuck in oneself's desires and feelings, there's nothing darker than that in the whole universe. But if you're using that sensitivity to feel others in order to help them, to serve them, then you can become an amazing professional, an amazing person that can really help others. So I knew once a person, he was a Pisces, rising Pisces, okay, and moon in Pisces, okay? Could be such a sensitive person, almost a lunatic, okay? But he was not. He used all of that sensitivity to do business. So he could be so sensitive for other people's needs. So he managed the most impossible projects and people and powers and companies in one of the most powerful places on earth, just because he turned his sensitivity in order to be there sensitive to others so he can help them and manage them. That's something about the Pisces. Let's go a little bit deeper than that. Okay, what do we have over here? So if we are reading from Bnei Sachar Rabbi Melech of Dinov, some 200 years ago, that he collected all writings about astrology in all Hebrew scriptures along the last few thousand years and compiled them together into his book, Great Creation, Bnei Sachar. And he starts about the month of Pisces. צירוף שם הנכבד המאיר בחודש הזה הוא ה' that the tetragrammaton has, whoever knows it already, there are 12 only permutations to that name. Each one of them represents one of the zodiac signs. The one that is for Pisces, as you see in the middle of the screen, Hey, Yud Vav. If you learn a little bit from previous lectures, you realize you have over here, the first two letters are females. The two first letters are Hey. Hey are female letters. Male letters are the Yud and the Vav, which means this sign is very feminine, very feminine. So we know one aspect of Pisces is being very feminine, which means very passive. It's a lot of Pisceans, they have a problem to be initiators. They have a problem to take charge. They have a problem to rule. So they lay back. Okay, it doesn't have to be, as we said before. If you use your oversensitivity to sense other people instead of being a victim, which is the dark side of the Pisces, you use that sensitivity to help others, you can manage very powerful people because nobody can withstand sensitivity, somebody that will really feel what's really going inside you. Okay, so you let those people to manage you, those people of Pisces. For instance, the biggest leader in the history of humanity is Moses. 40 years he managed the Jewish people in the desert. 40 years. And whatever came out of these 40 years is eternal. The effect it is today. You know, the power of a leader is to see what's left after he's gone. And, you know, in Hebrew, you call him Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe, our teacher. Moses, our teacher. Our teacher, he died 33 years ago, 33 centuries ago. No, he's still our teacher. Like he's alive right now. The legacy of the leader. And he was born on the 7th of Adar, Pisces. Okay? And that is a leader. So the moment they turn their sensitivity outwards, caring for others, they can become really powerful people. As remember what we said about reflection. Now, so what we have here also is the letters Kuf and Gimel. The letter Kuf represents, by the book of formation, the sign of Pisces, okay? And the letter Gimel is representing Jupiter, Kochav Tzedek. We'll come to it later on. But the Kuf is very special. Why it is very special? So the Bnei Yisachar is explaining as follows. The two letters in the Hebrew alphabet that are made from two different parts. You know, all 20 letters in the Hebrew alphabet are one shape, which means one body. If you look at every Hebrew letter, it's a one chunk, okay? There are two letters that are made of two parts that are not touching each other. One is the letter A, which is the letter for the month of Nisan. The other one is the letter Kuf, which is the letter for Pisces, for Adar, okay? Another thing that is very important, if you look at the letter Kuf, just above the word Pisces, you see that the other part goes under the line. It's the only letter of the Hebrew alphabet, of the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet, that goes under the line. Okay? So what's special? Both months, says the Bnei Yisachar. Both months, he bases it on the Zohar, Parshat Truma, that both letters symbolize months of miracles. The letter Hey is a symbol from the month of Nisan. Nisan, even the name Nisan comes from the word Nes, a miracle. Who couldn't see the 10 plagues? Who could not see the splitting of the Red Sea? Who could not see the manna coming from the heavens? Okay? All of this happened in the month of Nisan. Okay? So here we are about who couldn't see the pillar of fire and the pillar of smoke walking in front of the camp of the Israelites. All of that are visible miracles that are beyond logic and natural phenomena. Okay? Now, but think about it. After 40 days after the miracle of Mount Sinai, when it says, as it says in the Zohar, that when God started to speak on Mount Sinai, the souls of the Israelite nation left their bodies. Everybody had an out-of-body experience. Everybody saw all the intricacy of the programming of the universe, every little detail of it, like no other human ever saw it and experienced it. This is a miracle beyond anything we understand. 40 days later, the golden calf, to show us that even though we can witness miracles, like biblical scale miracles, like the Exodus miracles, that cannot take our free will to stumble and fall and make deadly, terrible mistakes. Why? The rule in this world is that you have to overcome your dark side in order to earn the enlightenment. Okay? So seeing visible miracles is not going to take your free will. Sooner or later, you're going to find a way to go with the dark side. Now, the difference is here that in the month of Adar, we had the miracle of Purim. And the miracle of Purim, there was nothing miraculous in the month of Purim that you can say, this is magic. Everything was natural. It was just mere coincidences. Okay? It was just a coincidence that after 3 days, 72 hours, that all the Jews fasted and gave presents to each other and shared with each other and loved each other and became one, that 72 hours after that, exactly 72 hours after that, the king of Persia could not sleep that night. Just a coincidence. Not just this, he could not sleep that night, so he asked to read one of his memoir books, history books. And he opens it just on the page that 10 years earlier, his security forces planned a coup, and they planned to kill the king. And Mordechai, the leader of the Jewish community, heard about it, and he told Esther, and she told the king, and that's how the king's life has been saved. And suddenly, by coincidence, the king says, but we never gave any prize, anything. We never said thank you to Mordechai. He saved my life. He saved the kingdom. He saved the empire. Okay, the empire could have been falling apart into pieces if the coup was successful. And suddenly, by coincidence, the king can't do anything else but think how to reward Mordechai. And who comes in to the king at that moment? Haman, the big arch enemy of Mordechai, with a death warranty for Mordechai, so the king has to sign on it. And the king is asking Haman, tell me something. He's obsessed. He must reward Mordechai. What should be done for the person that the king really thinks dear of? How should we do it so the whole world will know that? And Haman thinks, who does the king love more than me? What? So he says, you should take the person dressing with the king's outfit, with the king's crown, with the king's crown, give him the king's scepter, put him on the king's horse, the symbol of royalty, and he should be taken outside in the whole capital of the empire and announced the whole day. So should be done with the person that the king likes the most. And the king says, I know you are brilliant. Go outside, meet Mordechai at the gate, and do this to him without missing one detail that you just said. Is that a miracle? Yes, it's a miracle, but it's a coincidence. So the month of Adar, it's a different kind of a coincidence, a different kind of a miracle. It's a miracle that some people see, and the ones who see that miracle, they will change forever. Example, when we speak about the days of the Messiah, the Messianic days, when the Messiah is going to come and redeem the whole of humanity, all the Bible is going to be abolished because we don't need. Why? Because why do we need the Torah? We need the Torah to overcome our limitations. The moment the Messianic era is coming, we have no limitations anymore. We overcame the limitations, so we don't need the Torah anymore. But the book of Esther will never be outdated. All the holidays will be canceled. There's no need for Passover or Rosh Hashanah anymore because we don't need to atone, and we do not need to get rid of our dark side and our desire, our selfishness, right? But Purim will stay forever. Why? Because these are miracles that we acquired by changing the way we see this world, by seeing the miracles in the natural stuff, in the nature, in the way things are happening. What do you think? Whoever raised a child, I raised children. My children, I look at them and I realize like children are the most, how would I say? The Zohar says it. Every baby of every animal knows how to run away from trouble. The only young of any living thing that runs to troubles, is so creative in finding troubles, is a human child. They are like miraculously, geniusly, they can create death few times an hour. Okay? It's a miracle they survive and they grow up. Okay? You look at it and you see how many miracles save every child every day. Okay? These are miracles. You know there's a hand of God in everything we do. Why? Because there's no other way. So when you see the miracles in the mundane, in the regular stuff, that's a miracle. That's a miracle. Now, that's why the Bnei Sachar continues as something very special. It says in the Mishnah, that הרוצה שיתקיימו נכסיו, איתה בהן אדר. Whoever wants his properties, real estate, to be really real and stay in his possession, should plant a tree that is called Adar. But it's no tree like this. This tree, it's Adar. So the Arizal is saying, what does it mean? It means that when we have, if you really want to be successful in business, you need to realize that the miracles of God are everywhere. You just have to simply feel them and connect to them and create that intuition. And Adar means the ability to see the miracles in the regular natural stuff. Okay? We can see it also. Let's see over here in the planet. You can see it very powerfully in the planet Jupiter. Okay, what do we know about the planet Jupiter? First of all, planet Jupiter, according to the Sefer Yetzirah, is being ruled by the window, that's how the Zohar calls it, of Kuf Reish Ayin Sin Tet Nun, which is the second permutation of the 7 permutations of the name of 42 letters, known as the Ana Bekoach. Okay, Kra Satan. It's the only one that really has a meaning, to tear Satan, remove of Satan. That's why another one reason for month of miracles. Okay, because you have 2 months of miracles under Jupiter. Sagittarius, Hanukkah, Pisces, Purim. Okay? The letter that created, that is the creating force behind planet Jupiter, this cosmic force that is called Tzedek, is the letter Gimel. And Gimel means reward. How do you see that? You see that the letter Gimel is basically the scribe who writes the letter Gimel in the Torah. He writes first the letter Vav, which is the pipe from above to below. And then he sticks to it, to its leg, it sticks to it the letter Yud. The letter Yud is the symbol of God's light, 10 sephirot of light, 10 illuminations of light. So Gimel means rewarding, giving, okay, sharing, plenty. So the planet Tzedek or Jupiter is the planet of plenty, and therefore, whoever is ruled or controlled or has the strong influence of planet Jupiter has happiness because you feel lucky. You feel always that energy of rewarding coming from above. That's how you feel life. That's how you feel the creator. You feel bliss and abundance. It's giving you creativity and success because it gives you this kind of a charm of life and grace that makes people like you. It gives you also spiritual growth. And as I said, this is not the same spiritual growth of Saturn. The spiritual growth of Saturn is by knowing the hard facts of the laws of the world and being very serious about it. Jupiter's spiritual growth is by simply adoring the wonders of the laws of the universe. It's not from the seriousness of the laws, it's from, wow. It's like the difference is like the difference between an engineer and an artist. Both are building beautiful stuff, but the engineer is more focused on the laws. He has a lot of responsibility. And the artist, he's into the joy of creativity. And that's the two different energies between Saturn and Jupiter. So the spiritual growth is because of excitement about the wonders of reality. That is the time of the months of Adar. It's wisdom that comes from that excitement of adoring the wonders of the creation. And it's also the power of miracles and out of the box thinking. Which kind of miracles? Miracles that are coming out of simply knowing the rules, going with the flow, which means the flow of the rules of the universe, doing it with grace and happiness and love. And when you do it this way, everything comes to its place. One thing you see about Pisces, they have a very unique way to see reality. It's very easy for them to see out of the box from a kind of a childish even adoring of the universe, and not because of the drive to make more money and to be stronger and more powerful and to do more business. Okay, we'll finish with just reading from the book of Formation. And it says that God המליך עוד ג' וקשר לו כתר ויצר בו צדק בעולם. But the words of the Rabbi Avraham ben David of Poskiris, he lived some 1,000 years ago, a little bit less. Okay? שאלה עוד ג' להיות ראש בכוח כתר עליון, that God brought the letter Gimel to control, to take the crown, ושם בו כוח שלום, and put in it the power of shalom. Shalom means not peace. Shalom really means wholeness, completion. Then you are in peace. Mikoach HaChesed, it's a wholeness that is coming from grace, from loving and sharing. That's the letter Gimel, that's the power of Jupiter. And therefore, it is grace וסיגל בו על החסד, that's why it is responsible. חסד ויושר וצדק וענווה ומעשים טובים ושם טוב. Grace, loving kindness, honesty, justice, humility, good deeds, and good name. ובעל דין של חסד ואנשי שם. And having this grace of, like a judge that is full of grace and everybody respect him, not because he's power, but because he's love and grace that people enjoy it. It is a very good PR, Vanchei Shem, PR from a good name. V'ne'eman and loyalty, Chokhmat Torah and the wisdom of the Torah, Shneimar v'Torat Chesed HaLeshonah, that we know about the Torah, it's a wisdom of grace and loving kindness. Okay, and also it's about negotiations and being successful in negotiation. Why? Because when you have a good reputation and grace, you have a good name and people trust you, it's easier for you to make money. That's the power of Jupiter. And success in any business and making profits and fortune, because he has the money and he has good hopes of grace and celebration and marriage, which means he's like going into kind of a channeling the essence, the feel of that energy of the letter Gimel. And so it's about celebration and weddings and pregnancy. And it's all about this like feeling that things are going great and things are growing and expanding and we are lucky. Okay? And about successful children. And he has the peace, v'lo hashalom v'ashalva v'bitachon, peace and tranquility and safety from any kind of fear. V'ozer b'chasdo v'ohev ha'ne'emanim, and always helping with grace and loving the loyal people, which means it's like society is good and you don't have to be afraid because people are honest. And this is the energy we're talking about. Yeshuvim tovim, nice dwellings, nice nice neighborhoods. And also it is about the highest level of the Pisces and also the Sagittarius. It is about the greatest pleasure is by worshiping and serving God, because it's the highest pleasure and the highest connection to good name and good fortune. And people finding grace and liking each other. And a lot of crops and peace for the city, and a society of people who love each other. Healing the sick. He has the power to heal sick people. Even bringing kind of grace and peacefulness to the prisoners in their prison. And finally releasing them from prison. And again, by what? By grace, by goodwill and stuff like this. And that is the honorable people and the cantors, the ones who sing beautiful, godly music in the synagogues. And people, pious people sitting together to study against spirituality out of great godly pleasure. Okay, so that's in short the channeling of the Rabbi Avraham ben David Puskiris. We have a lot of stuff, but although Purim is being celebrated on the second Adar, still on the 14th and 15th days of Adar I, it is a custom to be rejoiced, to rejoice and to have a special dinner and to bring people and to drink wine and to do something happy. So we're talking about 60 days of happiness, and the growth is through happiness, through honesty, through grace. And I think we got the message. Any questions? Okay, thank you everyone, and Chodesh Tov.